you're anxious about the state of the world, read the real news. Don't get your news from social media.
Yeah.
Social media is only going to give you the most sensationalized part of the story. Like, if you're feeling anxious and doom scrolling, like go to like Reuters or like NPR,
like Al Jazeera, like
but go to NPR, Al Jazeera, like something else. Like just stop doom scrolling. It's not good. PBS.
Hey guys. Okay. Too much energy. We're back filming again. It's been a minute since we did it last. This is our first one in the new year, so we're excited to have it back. We're like, I feel like we're getting back like into the flow of it a little bit. Yeah. I was like, where do I go? What do I don't even know what I look like.
Same, yeah.
And as always, we have no topics. So that's like our marquee.
Bear with us, guys. It's a process. We'll do it together.
We're gonna figure it out. But how are you guys? How's your break? And man, what is it? It's like February.
Oh God.
Yeah. I feel like last time we met was probably like around Halloween, Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
yeah, it was insane. And that was like almost Valentine's Day. I feel like there's just everybody's just been kind of bouncing around, you know.
Yeah.
You guys especially. You guys have been kind of.
We had
all
a lot
over
of
the place.
travel. Yeah. It's crazy. It's like just a lot of traveling, a lot of moving around, family, friends, and just. Yeah. Also, we're unemployed. so it's like a lot of traveling, but not a lot to do. I don't know. How's unemployment been for you?
I don't know. Just like being a blob, like just like not doing a lot, but like not really doing anything. Yeah.
Because you gotta like schedule in time to like apply for jobs, do stuff. You gotta try to talk to people.
Yeah.
It's weird because you have to try to make stuff happen, but you don't actually have anything on your schedule.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm trying to have like a routine, but like kind of failing. Like it's really hard. Like I'm trying to be like, let me do this every day at like 10 a.m. But like, I don't know. I just can't. It's hard. It's really tough to do that. So
I did this thing where I was like putting it in my calendar, like wake up at this time, read at this time, apply for jobs at this time. Work out at this time, just like socialize, and it just hasn't worked. It's been completely arbitrary to have that there.
I feel like I'm a professional unemployed person.
Oh my God.
It feels like it's almost like a Freaky Friday situation where it's like this is the first time I actually have like a routine job, and I'm like, going in from 9 to 5 and like, taking breaks and like, okay, hey, like, drinking a lot of coffee and doing all the banter, all that stuff. So my thing was that before this, I worked in TV advertising. I was probably doing it for like maybe like 6 or 7 years. And then we went through like a ton of layoffs in our company. And it was so unfortunate because it was literally like the best company to be at. And I really enjoyed my job. But, we just went through like a ton of layoffs. So when that happened, I was kind of like bouncing around from like job to job, not job to job, but like kind of like just taking whatever was coming my way. But it was nothing like, career-ish, unfortunately. But at the same time, like, the biggest thing that you have to remember is just a lot of it is just circumstance. Like you can't be too hard on yourself. And there's only so much you can do to stay motivated, because what ends up happening sometimes is like you keep, like everybody's going to tell you, do these things, make this happen, whatever. But, everybody's kind of going through a similar thing. It's like there's different people going through a version of this everywhere. So yeah, there are better days than others. And some days you feel very productive, and other days when you're just like, I'm just not going to do anything today.
Yeah.
But and both of them are very necessary.
Yeah.
You know what it is though? It's also just a weird thing because I feel like we've had the last like couple of years just been a weird economy.
Yeah.
Too.
For sure.
Yeah.
So it's like it feels rough, and we're talking about just you don't know exactly what to do, but there's so many unemployed people now.
Yeah.
That it's crazy. Just even within our group of people too. It's like so many freshly unemployed people.
Yeah.
And what the crazy thing about it too is like they're not like, oh, I'm unemployed, I'm going to get the first job. Like these are executive level people who just don't have work, and they're qualified to have degrees, experience. Like it's just a weird time.
Yeah, a part of me is like, I'm like, it's nice to get a little bit of a break. I'm like scared it's going to go too long, but in the back of my mind, I just the job market and just seeing what's we talked about a little bit. Just there isn't that much out there.
There's not. Yeah.
So it's just I feel like it's a lot of it's just like the waiting game. But I've kind of prepared myself that I'm like, this is going to be the long haul. I don't think things are going to pick up for a while. There's just so much going on in the world as well.
Honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
You have did we have the new president when last time we filmed?
No. Nope.
Wow.
This is probably just before elections. It was the last time we hung out. Like this was like November.
So we got a new president, and that changes things, and I think that like that'll one way or another it'll change things.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see too. But I have a feeling that the effects of it will be later in the year.
No,
I don't think it's gonna happen like right away.
Yeah.
So.
And I think the other part of it too is like just in media. Well, we all work in media, so the thing is, I feel like just the industry itself has been shifting so much recently. I know who you guys talk to, what you guys, what you're like, people you network with are saying, but like we're really worried about this AI thing. Like, so I work at an agency right now, and it's just so crazy because whatever. The thing that we're concerned about is like there's going to be an issue with branding where people won't like brands won't matter anymore because people are looking for very specific products. The second part is that because everything is like automated and everything's on a dashboard, they don't necessarily need like an agency. They don't need a middle person to be like, oh well, I did research and I got all these things, where an AI thing can do it in like 10 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of jobs that are going to disappear, especially in our industry. So that's something that I'm just like, it's terrifying to think about.
Writing wise, I'm not worried about AI because you can't kill someone's creative drive.
Mm-hmm.
People have this need to write. You're never going to get rid of that.
Yeah.
So like, yes, you can make a machine write the script for you, but it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
And it's not going to, the ideas it's pulling are from other people. It's never going to like replace the process, and people are going to still want to do it. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure it's damaging things in some way, shape or form, but I'm not as worried about that, I guess, but from a different angle of things, right?
Yeah. So the thing also with that is like people are trying to like learn AI better, and people are actually looking for people to hire. Like, okay, I don't know anything about this, but if you can figure this out, like we have a great position waiting for you.
Yeah.
So I've been taking these courses in AI actually while I've been, and it's a part of it's for the job market, but part of it is I've just been genuinely like curious about it, and I've lived on it, frankly, for the last couple of months, and it's helped me even when I did have a job.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating thing, but I recently like took this course that I just finished today, but it's fascinating. It kind of gives you a lot of like oversight about it, but I think a lot of people are scared, and it's not, and just now getting like an overview of it, I don't think it's as scary as I think people are making it out to be.
Yeah.
Like to your point, I don't think you can like replace writers. I don't think you can replace a lot of these creative fields. Marketing, it could do it to a degree, but it knows how to do what's already been done. It doesn't know how to do new stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah. There's a lot of blind spots in AI that I think people aren't taking into account. Because it is a scary, like on the outset, it looks like it's talking to you, and it's crazy. But one of the things that was brought up like in the course today was like, it's going to in the next until by the time of 2030, it's going to replace 400 to 800 million jobs, which is terrifying. It's scary, crazy. Right?
Yeah.
McKinsey and something, they had this big study that did it.
Yeah.
But on the other side of that is it's going to add 550 to 900 million new jobs. And now those are both like broad things, but and it's probably not going to be like a 1-for-1, but the upside is slightly better than the downside. So it's going to change the way we do things. Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, it's going to make things better, but there's like an ethics component to it that I think, it's inherently like a part of it.
Yeah. No, the crazy thing right now is I feel like, so we're like millennials. We're born in like the 80s and stuff. Well, I was born in the 80s.
Speak for yourself.
I know. Well, I was born in the 80s. All
Me
right.
and her were born in the 90s.
Okay. Anyways, the point I'm trying to make is like,
when were you born? All right, guys, just throwing it at me.
But like the point I'm trying to make is that like I feel
dodges the freaking question.
We'll never know.
No, I mean to be on the same.
Pretty much, yeah. So what happens is that, there's changes that happen, but I feel like in the past like 10, 15 years, they just happen like all at once. So people are so like, they're not able to kind of keep up with it a lot of times. And I had an interesting conversation with someone the other day where they're saying that, people who go to college and stuff, it's almost like those degrees are like not useful anymore because there's so many ways that you can just kind of learn the stuff on your own.
Yeah.
And people who went to schools and stuff like that, they went there with the mindset of like, okay, I'm going to go through school, get my master's, whatever, and have a comfortable job. But that's not the case anymore. And it's like something where it's just all these changes are happening all at once. And it's something that like, people who are able to keep up will be able to get ahead. but people who are going to be left behind are going to be left way behind. So that's like the scary like thing that I kind of keep in the back of my head.
I think now more than ever is like a time to be like a forever learner.
Yeah.
Like I think in the past you could be like, okay, I got this. I can sit still for a minute.
Yeah.
Now you just can't sit still.
Yeah.
From now till like until as long as we live, I think we're gonna have to be learners as long as we want to be in the job market.
Yeah.
But would you not make the argument that the internet was like similar in the same way, like throughout our lives? Like it has changed completely, even in like the last 10, 15 years. Like everything is constantly changing. Like I feel like it was just easily more adaptable because we were younger and things like that. Like we were just in it more.
Yeah. I think it's similar. Yeah. It is very similar. I just think the pace changes.
Yeah. I think you're right.
The internet, like from when it became a big thing for us, I would say, I don't know. When did we start using it? Like 2004?
Probably like 9 or 10 years old. Like,
I mean, you guys had the thing where you had the beeping and the fax machine sounds or whatever. Right? And then you had the thing where it was suddenly there. And then you had the thing where you had to like look up directions online. We all went through these phases and it kind of happened naturally. And now we're seeing it in a new way. And I don't know. It just bothers me because I feel like I'm seeing people my age and like a little bit older than me, like millennials and stuff being like, oh, things are so different now. And I'm like, you guys are sounding the same way that like boomers sounded when we were kids. And it's kind of like, I don't know, just keep that in mind, right? Yeah. Like things are constantly changing. And I'm sure they felt the same way. Like seeing how things like...
And to your point, I think the thing also is like, these computers and stuff that came and they kind of like took over everything. I'm sure there's a ton of jobs that kind of like were obsolete after that. Exactly. But at the same time, think about all the people that work and use Excel every single day. You know what I mean? Like it's like there's like courses and stuff about how you can use like operating systems and stuff. And it's so like you think about it, it's like it's just a giant calculator. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So many jobs came out of it. So many opportunities came out of it. So I mean, it's people have to adjust. You know, it's just I think the other I feel like millennials have a chip on our shoulder only because it's like, you know, we were kind of promised something and then we didn't get it as far as like jobs go, as far as like housing goes, as far as the American like dream goes. And I think that's why they were like bitter about like, oh, here's another thing we got to worry about. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
But it's, that's something I definitely feel it where, you know, even with the job market being like up and down, like sometimes your experience doesn't even matter. You know?
Yeah. It was definitely hard for us. Even like the times that we like graduated, I think it was just a failing system. And I think like Gen Z is a lot, they kind of learn from us, I think, in a lot of ways where they're like, okay, we know not to expect these things, but let's focus on how we could be happy without this thing.
I'm going to push back a little.
Yeah.
You guys, you graduated like 2008, right? Yeah. There was a really bad recession. Yeah. But a lot of Gen Z graduated during a pandemic.
Oh, that's true.
Okay. Or they went to college during a pandemic or high school.
Yeah.
These are pretty life-changing events too. So I feel like, I don't know. I don't want to say this is a hot take. I just feel like millennials like to play the victim a lot. I'm just going to say that.
That is a hot take.
They really do. They really do all the time. And it's a little frustrating.
But here's the thing. Like if you graduated during COVID, all those people lost their jobs. You're fresh in the market. You understand technology better. The industry's transitioned into technology. There's a lot of people, especially in my industry, and I've seen around, they've lost their jobs to millennials who can easily access Zoom, who could like grasp the work from home workforce better than like millennials could.
Yeah, but how do you even I graduated 2019, so I had a little bit of advantage because I had a job, but I had to work remotely in my first job. I didn't have that like networking opportunity. I had no like background, like I didn't know anybody. Like, if you don't have that basis, how do you meet anybody? How do you start? How do you get your foot in the door? Your foot's not in the door and it's like impossible to get it. And I'm still feeling that now. And it's very, very tough. Like all my internships and film have been remote. Mm-hmm. I don't have those like real life, like relationships. Right. And so it's like, it's been insanely hard. And again, I'm not trying to be like, oh, it's only me that's experienced this. Like the whole world has experienced
it's a very common thing for a lot of people.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like the way that we do work, like the way the jobs and the whole, like everything changed after COVID. Right. Yeah. So.
But also kind of put things in perspective where it's like, there's like the work schedule where it's like, 9 to 5, go and come home and like try to live your life and everything. Right. I think what happened with a lot of millennials and a lot of Gen Z, where they're like, okay, we're doing all this stuff, but what's the return at the end of it? I feel like the generations that came before us are the ones that really messed it up, and they also took advantage of the entire system like crazy. Where they're like, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna take this. We don't need to worry about Social Security. We don't worry about like putting like jobs aside or whatever. They literally were very selfish, and they kind of were like, okay, you know what? We're gonna hold on. Even like now, where there's people who just like refuse to retire, which I get. Like I know like the economy's bad and everything, but at the same time, it's like, dude, like you should have thought about these kind of things like way before, or like it's like if you don't leave, nobody can come in, and it's like eventually like do you want to work for the rest of your life?
Yeah,
they're just like I feel like the generation before us is just like a little more greedy.
No, I agree.
And they kind of just wanted to really just focus on themselves.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just on TikTok a lot. I don't know.
TikTok then hate that generation.
Yeah.
That generation does. Their lingering effects are just everywhere.
Yeah.
It's tough. But I feel like, like the future gets brighter. Like just I don't know. I feel like people are having a lot more information. Like in a way where like millennials had a good amount of information. We had the internet and everything, and we had the like a bit of social media, but now as much as social media is out there and just the younger people kind of doing it and fully putting themselves in it, like I think that there is, I just think they have a good chip on, like they have a good head on their shoulders and everything. It works really well. So I think good's gonna come from it. But boomers, man, and it's kind of the way that it's set up is that like they kind of have to work till that long too, just to kind of play devil's advocate for them a little bit. Like they have to work that long to pay off their mortgages and all these crap things that are set up for them.
So basically we're all screwed. Regardless of what generation you're in.
It's like just
this is why we need to doom scroll. This is why we need our like coffees. This is why we need our like treats throughout the day. Like it's like we're really good. I feel like millennials and Gen Zs have like that whole dissociating thing on lock. Like we can literally just like check out and we're like, you know what, the world's ending anyways. Like F it. Like let's just
Don't ban TikTok. Just like don't do that. Like what am I gonna do the hour before I sleep?
Like that's how you actually start a revolution. It's
like let us talk to each other. And then get it out there. That's where my optimism lies. I feel like even us just being able to do this and just like the voices out there change. And like going back to like the AI a little bit, I think there's like a leapfrog effect that I think is going to happen. That's interesting. And it's already happening with TikTok and podcasts and everything, where people who haven't had that much influence can leapfrog to the top and make it. So like the example that one of the examples is like for AI, like China and India, and let's take India. They're very technologically sound. So they can leapfrog up in the AI game. They can, and now we're seeing it with DeepSeek too. Like they were supposed to be 3 stages behind, like 3 years behind us. They immediately make this thing, and now we're tied.
Crazy.
So people can leapfrog up, and I think that's with countries, but I think that's also with people. And just going back to it, I think now we just have more information as long as we stay learners. I think be okay. But there's just been so much going on.
There really has. And I mean, even like the whole political situation in America is like so trippy because it's like you don't know who. Well, obviously you don't really know who to trust, and you're like, okay, well, you think people are like kind of advocating for you and things like that, but at the end of the day, they're just this whole lobbying system is insane because there's people who are literally like paid to stay there and like they're doing all this weird stuff. So I feel like just as in the past like few elections, I feel like that's the other thing that's been really affecting just the way we kind of behave. Where it's like we're just so over it and we don't trust anyone anymore, and the future just seems so bleak, and it's like
you know what I was thinking about? I was talking about this with my parents. I think I was like, every election I voted in had Trump. Every single one.
That's
how
true.
sad is that?
That's
like,
crazy.
That's really sad.
It's so weird to think about. And 2 out of 3 times he won. Like, it's crazy. And like, I don't know. It's just, we think about like, maybe that's why we're so sad and depressed, and like our whole adult life has just been kind of bleak.
The thing also is like, because of all the social media stuff, for a lot of millennials, the first person that we voted for was Barack Obama. And there's one thing of like so much like, oh my God, things like change and hope is going to come and all these things, whatever. Come to find out, like this guy was also like doing shady stuff too, especially we're all South Asian. So it's like the whole thing is like he was doing the whole like drone thing and whatever. Like there's so many things that he did behind closed doors, but it's like, well, he's still like a positive guy. He knows how to speak. He's very like, well, people like celebrities like follow him and stuff like that. But if you look back at it, you're like, man, this guy, like this was weird and this was weird and this was weird. It's like, wow, how do we vote for this guy?
Yeah.
So it's just, there's nobody really like nobody's like good on either side. So
yeah. This just these last couple of months have just kind of put that into perspective. And it's like you brought up like a couple of good, like politics is just so unserious now.
Yeah.
And I think the world is like more like unserious now.
Yeah.
But now it's just like I'm like I don't care about either of you guys.
Yeah.
I don't really care about unless someone puts forward something that's gonna like benefit or affect us. I'm like, you know, I don't really care about these things that you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, like and then lobbyists is just like such a big. It is a hole in our country.
Yeah.
It's like it's like a massive, massive hole.
Yeah.
And unrelated but salacious. Did you guys hear about the Obama divorce rumors?
No.
I feel like people are not like this has been like this is crazy. But this is like real like gossip pages have been like and like these are like big publication gossip pages.
She hasn't been around in a while.
Yeah. That's what people have been saying. And so apparently the rumor is that they're doing like a soft launch divorce. She hasn't been to the funeral, Jimmy Carter's funeral.
Yeah. Oh my God. Right.
She wasn't at the inauguration.
Yeah.
And then he was eating out alone in DC. And people were saying that's like the soft unlaunch.
It's like, oh, by the way, we're not together anymore. Yeah. It's like we've really been like lifelong like partners, but it's all good.
Yeah.
See Obama on Tinder.
I was like
like swiping, I was like, oh my God, is that?
He could I could see him dating a celebrity.
Yeah.
You know he's like doing like narrating nature documentaries right now. That's what he's been up to.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I
feel like producing too.
Every president does like a version of this. You know, President Bush was doing the thing where he was like, well, I'm like painting now, and he was like selling his artwork and stuff. Like it's like every president who like retires tries to get into like a very like, you know, something that's very like soft and fluffy and like.
To be fair, they're like old men, so typical.
Because that's what they want their legacy to be. They're like, oh, you know, well, yeah, he did all this crazy stuff, but look at him now. He's such a cute old man.
Yeah. I'm sure they need like to de-stress. After the most stressful job in the world. Like,
that dude, literally. Like the crazy stuff he does and then now he's like he likes to paint cats and Michelle Obama loves saying I'm like this guy is crazy.
Yeah, seriously.
This guy is like, oh my God.
Anyways, with all the social media stuff, do you guys feel a little confused about like where to post things? Because I definitely do.
Yeah, for sure.
Like any thought I have, I'm like, should I use Twitter? I don't want to. Should I use Threads? Should I use Instagram? Is TikTok cool now?
Yeah.
What is like, where am I supposed to do things? Like, it's like frustrating because I'm like, I want to like preserve memories and share things.
Yeah.
But I don't like that these like corrupt billionaires use these sites.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just very confused and I don't know like where to share my life anymore. It's
Let's
just
see.
like,
You can't do Meta.
Yeah.
You can't do anything
Instagram.
Meta. Instagram is out.
No, we can't do that. Twitter.
TikTok is like a weird cusp where it's not yet, but like it's about to be in the wrong hands.
In America, especially, it's kind of off. Like it's not. Yeah.
We're about. I mean, I don't know if these Instagram ads have been crazy.
So my thing also is like my whole like For You page. It's not what it used to be. Like after this whole like because they did this thing in America for anybody who's watching outside of America. But like what happened was that they actually banned TikTok for like a day,
14 hours.
Yeah, and then they came back and it's almost like. You know, like the app felt like it was brainwashed. Like all the stuff that I was seeing, I was like, this is not normal. And, you know, like I'm seeing stuff from like, you know, other countries and seeing a lot of it was, it went back to the way TikTok was when it first came out, like dance videos and cooking videos and things like that. I'm like, dude, TikTok, I use it for like breaking news, like any like current thing that's happening, whether it's like pop culture stuff, whether it's like, so I remember I was in Westwood during like all the BLM stuff, and it was like minute by minute I was watching TikTok more than I was watching CNN.
Yeah,
you know, like I was making sure like okay, where are the safe zones and when's the curfew happening and all these things, whatever. And it feels like we don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are saying that I guess a way around it is to actually block Facebook and Instagram on your TikTok.
There's something you can do in your settings where you turn off something from sharing and how like it's so funny. I saw like a woman and she was like talking about cats and stuff like that. That she had like a paper that was like, you go to this, you go to this.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
And then she was like, oh, make sure you comment about cats in the comments.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is like some end of the world stuff. Like this is crazy.
There's been a lot of that stuff where someone's talking about something completely different. They're like, subliminally telling you to do something. It's crazy.
That's a trip. But yeah, it's like, I don't know where you, like, I'm like, where do you, yeah, I don't know where you post. I don't know, like, what it's going to, where it's going to go.
Yeah.
I just,
like, I feel disconnected now, and I just, like, I'm sure, I hope, I'm like, there needs to be a new app.
Yeah.
Like, we are
Yeah.
far overdue. Like, where is the new app? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
yeah.
but yeah, I don't
I think
know.
YouTube might be kosher.
Yeah, I mean,
That might be good.
yeah. I mean, I use Laps, which is like a very small, but it's like, you can't do much on it.
Yeah.
What's Laps?
Oh my God.
Everything I say, I'm like, we're boomers. Do you know what Laps is?
Yes.
Is it because of me though?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a very niche. It's like you take a picture and then it like uploads it later. Like it like develops.
Okay.
It's like kind of,
What does develop mean?
you know, like old cameras where you take a picture and
yeah.
it will develop it later.
Okay.
Yeah. So like 20 minutes later, you like develop it. So it's kind of to prevent you from taking like 500 photos to being a perfectionist. And it puts a little.
Kind of like what we used to do when we were kids.
Okay.
It's like, oh, take a picture and you gotta wait for like a day, and then it's like, okay, well, you gotta go to CVS and pick it up. Like, you know,
Wow.
So
it's like the same thing, but on like an app.
And the point is to like make you wait for your picture.
Yeah.
And also make you really like
be in the moment.
Yeah.
That's kind of the point of it.
Okay.
And I only have like 60, 70 followers on there. So it's like feels very intimate and nice. And I can share just like very small things, like my day-to-day life on there. So it's like not as like crowded.
I remember when TikTok was like that.
Yeah. I know, exactly. Like,
I remember when Charli D'Amelio had like 10,000 followers. I'm like, oh wow, she's so famous. You know?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the conclusion of all this. Everyone has their niche apps that they go to that functions their own way.
And I kind of feel like that is what's going to happen. And I feel like they're being like tied based on like political groups because X, Twitter, whatever is becoming like for the right or whatever. And then like maybe there's like blue skies more like the left or whatever. Yeah. But it's like, I don't think it should be like that. You know what I mean? Like it just feels off and wrong and just not.
Yeah. The way that people have been consuming this stuff is very similar to how people would consume like cable TV, I would say. Like, I mean, back in the day, that's how we were with cable TV. It's like, okay, well, if you want this opinion, you watch like CNN. If you want this, you watch like Fox News. You know, if you want to like completely watch something else, you watch like TNT or like whatever. So it's like, I think that's what they're kind of treating social media as.
That's
right
a good
now.
point.
Yeah.
It's like, so instead of having like a subscription base or whatever, you're just like, okay, you know what? Go on the app that you want for the content. So the way that I've been using it, I have different apps for like different like scrolling content. So like I remember when all this stuff was happening with like you know, well, the watermelon country. I felt like I was on TikTok a lot and I was watching people post like, you know, in real time and all these things, whatever. And it got to a point where I was just like mentally like burnt out. That's when I went over to Instagram and that's when I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I need to watch a couple like cat videos or like some cooking videos, just kind of like dissociate a little bit.
Yeah.
So I can get back to this stuff and get back to just like, okay, interacting with the other, you know, important content. And Facebook, I feel like for that, I just use it for, you know, maybe to interact with like uncles and aunties. It's I feel like it's a lot more older people on that app and stuff like that. And they're the ones who are like, it's more of them sending you stuff and like, oh yeah, no, I saw that. Like, you know, because otherwise they'll like see you at dollars, they'll be like, hey, like you didn't watch this, you know. But that's what I think is going to happen, where it's like every app is going to be like catered to like, you know, what we're saying was like everything is depending on what the kind of content you want to interact with.
That's a really good point. I totally didn't make that like jump, but it's like MSNBC's for like super left leaning, Fox is for right leaning, and then CNN is like a little left leaning, but like tries to be moderate. Yeah, I think that's for apps. I think it's kind of good that there's a lot of apps. I think it does a couple of things. First of all, I mean, it doesn't make it a monopoly on one thing.
That's true.
People could have like their own things, their own way of processing things. It does do the thing of like it makes it harder to monetize because this is the big thing that makes apps so special.
Yeah.
It's like you can make a career on TikTok, you can make a career on Instagram. But yeah, I think there's like pros and cons to it. But perhaps it's that like people are making real money through YouTube, and then all these other things like builds their brand.
Yeah,
because TikTok pays you, but it doesn't pay you a whole lot.
Yeah.
Instagram pays you more, but it's harder to do. There's a bigger barrier of entry.
Yeah,
definitely.
But I think there's good in it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to just finding your audience. And I mean, more often than not, when you're on these other platforms, like if you're watching one person on one app, it kind of transfers over to the other app. Like you'll start seeing their content on like Instagram and stuff like that too. Because I mean, your phone kind of picks up on these things, which makes it a little easier to kind of be like, okay, well, these are people I want to follow. These are people I want to interact with. Yeah, if you have good content, if you're like a good creator, I feel like your audience is going to follow you.
Yeah, but I also don't want my stuff to just be American. Yeah. And I feel like Twitter and stuff, I'm getting international audience, like international stuff. And like, blue sky is like just Americans, like, and like, I don't know. So just, that's something that I really want to avoid. And I feel like that's like an easy pit to fall into, especially as Americans. Like we're so unaware of like the rest of the world. So.
My Instagram is pretty American.
Yeah. I really tried to like avoid that, especially like after going to Pakistan and stuff. I was always like, let me follow all these like pages, influencers, and like find like new people to follow just to like not be.
So that's how like my Instagram is now. Oh my God. Like Indian reels are something else. They're so ridiculous, but they're so entertaining. Like some of the stuff they come up with, I'm like, dude, this is like the most simple thing. And they're like, oh, okay. And then they have like 2 million views because there's, they have a lot of people there and they're all using the same app. So it's like, you can put up whatever video, 2 million is probably not even viral for them.
Yeah.
Like they're just like, okay. But yeah, so
India, what's going on in India is like,
it's a different world.
It's just, I get the head massage.
Oh God. Oh no. I know.
And they'll just be like
aggressively beating someone.
The guy will like go in his ear and just like shake his brain.
No, I get those ones where there's not the barber and there's like, it's like a Turkish barber and he does this thing where he like rips the guy's shirt open and he starts like just like rubbing it up and down like with soap and everything.
God.
It's just so aggressive and we're like, bro, like this guy's caring for a haircut. Like, like what are you doing? And the guy's like, the guy who's getting it, he's like super calm too. He's like, okay. I'm like, man, that's but yeah, that's so important because it is kind of like, if you have that diversity on your page, it makes it like, okay, you can kind of get more like content from other places and it helps you kind of stay in touch because obviously aside from the funny stuff, you'll probably see the other stuff too. Like, like news and everything.
Exactly.
So breakdown wise, okay, let's break. So we have Instagram and TikTok. I'd be like, TikTok is like the uncensored everything. Would you say?
I don't know.
I feel like it used to be.
Like after that one day.
Yeah.
Okay. After that 14 hours.
Yeah.
More specific.
Yeah.
14 crazy hours. Okay. So that's what that used to be. TBD what it is. Instagram is brand, would you say?
Yeah. Brand. More like advertising, more like brand and like stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else we have?
Twitter.
Twitter is... I don't even know who uses
No,
Twitter.
I like Twitter a lot.
It's like
it's annoying. No, it's
quite
so
millennial of you. I'll be honest with you.
Okay, first
Twitter is like
Twitter's like a weird it's so interesting because I feel like for us we didn't care about it that much, but Gen Z's like all about it. Like I feel like a lot of the younger people are like, oh, I saw this on Twitter.
It's where like all the like anytime something happens, it is the place to go.
Yeah.
Like it's the most fun place to be. The memes are just fire. People are so quick with it. Like last night the Grammys were happening. Straight to Twitter. Also, like, okay, like all the Zayn stuff, like that's where I get all my information.
Yeah.
All the live breaking news, all those
things. You just went to a Zayn concert.
Okay, love of my life. Like anything about him, everything about him, like that's where all the updates are. Like I can't find anything as fast on any other.
That's a good thing about it.
That's the search it. You just like search name. Like how do you use Twitter? Like you just search the name.
You can search if you do latest. That's like the best. Like if you're trying to figure out something, and then otherwise like algorithm just knows.
Yeah.
Like
it shows like the top, like they show like the trending stuff on the left and stuff like so.
The day that Trump got like grazed by the bullet or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I logged in and the first tweet was like, oh my god, and you just knew what it was about. There was no context. You just knew there was like
something
my god,
happened.
and like or the next tweet was like, oh I can't believe this happened. It's just like there's no words in the tweet that explain what it says, and I kind of like that it feels like you're like in a communal situation. Like I don't know how to explain it. It feels like we're all watching the same thing together.
What do you think about the like Twitter? Is that similar to like Reddit in that way? Because I feel like Reddit has like different communities too. But I feel like that's the way that we used to use Reddit is how like I feel like Gen Z is using Twitter. Whereas like we used to, I feel like even before I used to go like meme websites to find out what the news was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like of course they have the funny stuff, the weird stuff, and everything. But like we would go there before we would go to like Facebook. You know what I mean? Because even then it was like super heavily censored. But yeah, that's what Twitter has kind of become, where it's like it's almost like a meme website, but everything is like people post it right.
Yeah. Someone described Reddit to me this way a couple of days ago. Is Reddit? It's like for people who want to be caught up on stuff, but also like to read.
Yeah.
I actually like Reddit a lot. Yeah. I like it because it's organized.
Yeah.
It makes me like happy.
You have like a subgroup and then you just go in that.
And you can open a thread and read all the sub comments and then close it and read. Like other websites are not that organized. Like it's like it makes something like itches my brain.
So the thing with Reddit is like I feel like it reminds me of Craigslist, and I remember Craigslist was like really the way it's set up and everything. I'm just like this is too much like clicking and too much reading. And it's like some stuff. I mean, it's organized, but at the same time, you're like, okay, somebody will be like, it will say something here, and they'll be like, oh, people will respond to it, but then they're like not responding to like I don't know. I just feel like it's too organized, but then it's like you have to kind of go back and find out where like the pieces are for everything.
But you just collapse the thread. Like, it's so easy.
No, I know, but
like,
it's
if
like
you don't have an answer, collapse. You know?
But even then, it's like, but then it feels like you're almost like kind of like going down a rabbit hole. It's like, what was the initial thing that I was even looking for? You know?
I think it's great for ADHD.
Yeah,
people.
I think that's probably what it is. Yeah.
To me, the interface was exactly like Craigslist, where I was like, somebody like they need like a UI designer to just come in there and make this better.
Yeah,
and it's all over the place. And I was like, man, I don't know. This is like too overwhelming. I feel like there's too much going on in one. If I open like TikTok, it's just one video, and then I scroll up, and then it's the next video.
I've never used Reddit on like a desktop, so I don't know.
Oh, you use it on your phone?
Yeah.
So we've always used it on our desktops.
Yeah.
Like I
don't know
because Reddit came out like a long time ago too.
I know it's very old, and I know that.
So it's meant for your phone.
Like it looks like this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Like those meme websites when we were like younger. Yeah.
And then it's like, you know.
Oh, that's a much better interface. Yeah. Okay. I'm getting it right now.
It's great.
Real time.
Oh, you can go on like film industry LA and
so
see all the people in there.
In terms of TikTok, Twitter, Reddit, what's the breakdown for you? Like, what do you use the most? How do you use them? I'm fascinated.
No, I'm just laughing because it's making me think of the game where you're like F, marry, kill.
Oh,
TikTok, Facebook, kill Facebook. No,
I was thinking percentage. By the way,
percentage of use or like
yeah.
I actually think I use Reddit the most because that's my like go-to for scrolling at night and stuff. It's like the reading before bed for me.
Yeah.
I check Twitter in the morning, which I'm actually trying not to because I feel like it's not. I don't want to use it anymore. But it's just like it's
what a crazy way to start your day. Like it's like
so chaotic.
Yeah, it's so much.
It wakes me up.
Do you get actual news from there?
Sometimes I also like to actually read the news, which is a thing I actually tell everybody too. Like we all need to actually read real news.
There you go. She's keeping LA Times in business, guys.
Yeah, I have their alerts on my phone actually. Like,
oh wow.
Read the news. Also, okay, I'm sorry. This is not. I'm getting off topic, but I just have to say something. If you're anxious about the state of the world, read the real news. Don't get your news from social media. Yeah. Social media is only going to give you the most sensationalized part of the story. Like, if you're feeling anxious and doom scrolling, like go to like Reuters or like NPR,
like Al Jazeera, like
but go to NPR, Al Jazeera, like something else. Like just stop doom scrolling. It's not good.
Yeah.
PBS. Okay. Anyways, I don't know. Yeah, X, Reddit. I don't know.
So X is first.
Yeah.
Then Reddit.
Reddit's like night.
Reddit's at night.
Twitter's morning, Reddit's night, and then like Instagram's during the day and TikTok's during the day.
TikTok's like TikTok and Instagram are last for you?
Yeah, TikTok. The thing is, I'm very like, I think TikTok's like a specific, like, I want to look up a tutorial. I want to look up something specific. And then I end up scrolling on it, looking up other stuff.
Yeah.
But
yeah. My thing is when TikTok first came out, I was like, any second I had to myself, I'm like, let me see if I can watch like 2 or 3 videos really quickly. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it's almost like an addiction now.
Yeah.
And whenever I see stuff on TikTok where I'm like, okay, this content, because they have those long form videos now where it's like, if enough long form videos or enough ads come up, I'm like, okay, I'm switching over to Instagram. But I kind of use them almost interchangeably. The only thing with Instagram is like, it shows like people I know. So I can like watch people's stories and things like that. I use Instagram to like kind of, instead of like calling people or texting them, I use it to like communicate that way. A lot of meme sharing, like I use that for like, I do that more on Instagram than anything else. And Facebook is just for like birthdays and old people. For me,
I don't even check Facebook anymore. Actually,
same. I don't check.
Yeah,
but the scrolling is really interesting. It's like basically what it was like when TikTok first came out, where it's like you get these random creators and a lot of people who are posting stuff from like 2 years ago that they post on their page because they're trying to optimize their Facebook ads and stuff like that too. So.
My Facebook, I'll log on and it'll tell me like a post I did like 13 years ago.
Yeah.
I get that too.
The trauma.
Yeah. And I realized like how dumb my post was.
And how cringe like everything was back then.
Yeah. Eating chips with basketball, like
a
typical Thursday night.
Can we like react to our old posts one day?
Oh, that'd be
good. That'd be hilarious.
Mine are really bad. Like, because I was also like 12. Okay, so mine are gonna be really bad. Like.
Yeah.
I remember we went to a bonfire and I posted like 30 photos. I'm like, it was just a bonfire.
That was also a millennial thing.
Yeah.
You guys used to take like your camera, your little
digital camera. I literally had my like digital camera. I was like, just taking pictures. I forgot. And I'll upload the entire thing. Like it was like a little card that I was like put into the computer and like, okay, just upload everything and fun times at the beach. Like,
That's wild.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I didn't think about that, but all those like that knots.
Yeah.
That was all.
It's really interesting.
And
you guys did the like the really high angle thing for some reason.
For selfies?
Yeah, with the flash like burning in your face.
Yeah.
See, I know this because I tried to copy because I'd be like, oh, the cool, like older cool kids, let me try to be cool like them. Or you take the mirror selfie and it was just all flash.
Yeah. That was the thing as well.
Yeah, that's why. Like, these look so bad. I'm just thinking about all the pictures I posted. I'm like, man, these are pretty.
Were you wearing like a fedora?
No. I started doing that now because I feel like, okay, when we were younger, also, we weren't cool when we were younger. So we had to like dial this up afterwards. Okay, so as I got older, so while I like.
We weren't cool at that time.
We were not cool back then. And what happens is like, so now whenever we engage in like millennial activities, we go like all out. So like recently we went to, well, not recently, like a little while ago, we went to like a Neo concert. And I was like, okay, this is my time to shine. This is what, like, if Neo was in high school and I went to a show, what would I dress like? Because I can afford it now, you know?
Actually, that's real.
And it was like,
that's so real.
So I found like a fedora, I found like a vest, I found like everything. So like obviously like skinny pants and everything. I'm like, okay, hey, this is what if I was 19 and I went to a Neo concert, this is what I would wear.
If I was 19 and had friends who would go with me to a Neo concert and I had money to buy
if I had money,
that's
the
too,
real thing. No, that was literally me with the Zayn concert where I was like, I want to go early and I want to buy merch and I want to do all this stuff that my parents would never ever have approved of back then. Yeah. Like, and they still were like, what the hell are you doing? But I was like,
it's like, again, it comes back to the whole thing of like the world's ending and this is our way to dissociate. Like, I'm like making my inner child happy. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you have to.
Okay, I'm not that nihilistic, but you know, it's fine. That's okay. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm still playing the long game. Like
I am too. It's fine.
Oh my God. If the world is ending, I don't know why I'm looking for a job.
It's fine. It's okay. We're gonna be fine. No more.
No, but these are all like ups and downs. I'm telling you, this is the whole thing about being employed. You have days that are like amazing where you're like, oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't have to work so I could do like X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And those like situations where you're like, oh man, like if I had to work right now, I'd be so screwed because I gotta wake up early. And other situations where you're like, man, like I am never gonna find a job. Like, you know, like it's so hard out there. Like you have good days and bad days, but you know.
I think like I've been feeling that too. Like the world's like chaotic, but I think to like your point, I think like I don't actually like read the news anymore.
Do you think that's
and
good
I
or
do TikTok?
bad?
No, I think it's bad. I think I'm realizing now that it's like not good.
Yeah.
Because I get the most salacious version of it and the one that's like most strongly opinionated as opposed to the black and white.
Yeah.
And the world could feel bleak if you're just on like TikTok.
The one thing about social media too is like it gives you the content that you would like. So it's like I feel like it kind of creates a bigger divide between people who are on like opposing sides. So I mean, recently what I've been seeing a lot is again, I think this happened because of the whole TikTok update or whatever. A lot of like men versus women content, where it's like like these are what good husbands do. This is what bad husbands do.
Why are you getting this?
Like I have no idea, and I'm like, it's like not something I'm really into either. And it's just
I'm not getting any of that.
Introspective.
But what I'm saying
I'm
is
getting
like
cats hugging dogs.
I mean, did you used to get that before?
Always.
Cats hugging dogs.
They have this thing of cats like slowly becoming friends with dogs. So like someone will have a dog and they'll be like, I got a cat, and it'll be like a kitten, and then it'll be like mean to the dog, and then it'll sniff it, and then it'll pet it.
Both of you guys have some
and then by the end of like a year, it'll start cuddling. It's wonderful. And you sleep you sleep with it and you just feel like in a good state.
That actually sounds very wholesome. Like I love that kind of content.
That's wholesome, but like why?
Again, it's about that dissociating.
You know? I'll start watching news if you start watching happy stuff.
Okay, fine.
All right? Watch cats hugging. Nothing wrong with it.
I have a cat.
Oh, that's right.
I have it live.
She has an IRL cat.
Touche. Maybe I just need a cat. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. Like, you kind of get people who are just kind of like, it's a just an echo chamber where you're like saying stuff and you're finding people who validate what you believe in, and you find like weird ways to kind of be like, okay, you know what, maybe this person's right. And then when they have you in that like mindset, they can say the craziest thing. You'd be like, you know what? I never thought about it like that, but that could also be true. And a lot of it is like conspiracies and things like that on both sides, you know? So it's like, that's the thing about social media where you gotta be careful.
Yeah. Because TikTok is getting this reputation of having like things presented as factual and then it's not factual.
Yep.
And it's like this person has so much conviction saying it, but it's not the news. It's what someone has dissected themselves, and they could be saying the wrong thing, but they'll say confidently, like, and I'm guilty of this too. I'm like, oh wow, this is what it is, because I am researching. I'm just like going to
see, this is also like I don't know if this is a millennium trait, but it's not cool. Like, Google
Sometimes things are just Google
things.
Sometimes not my whole generation.
Okay, fine. Then it's a you problem, but
Okay,
Google
don't
it.
take down my whole generation.
Okay, fine. It's a Ramiz problem.
Thank
okay,
you.
Ramiz things, just Ramiz things.
I feel like I'm always Googling stuff, especially when I'm watching.
always Googling
Whenever I'm like watching a movie, I'll have this thing where I'll like look up the actors, look up their history and all this stuff. Like I'm just like, any chance I get, I'm like, okay, let me, if I find something on TikTok and I think this is crazy, I like go over to Google so fast.
Yes, exactly.
I think it'd be the most like minuscule like piece of information. And I'll be like, let me
anything sus that seems a little off, I'm like, Google this real quick.
I'll do it with little things like that, but like if it's like JFK, did you know what was in his thing? It was this Italian mafia was involved when LBJ was also involved. Like that's too much to Google, so I will just take that face value.
You guys carry around information from like 20 years ago and you still say it and you wholeheartedly believe it and you spread it around, and when anyone challenges you, you're like, no, you're making that up. Like, that's not cool.
So
and when I say
damn,
I'm not really talking to you, I'm actually thinking of someone else, but it's fine.
That's such a complete way of like tearing it down. But like that was pretty solid.
In my defense, like I'll bring it up. I won't say it as fact. I'm like, I heard this.
Yeah,
it'll be I heard that caveat of I heard, and then it'll be up to someone else to like make that better. It's like an algorithm in real life, like people will like give you better information because you give them potentially the wrong information that someone has studied before, or maybe says that they have studied and haven't studied. You put it out into the world. People like yourself read the news. They check it and they're like, oh, you're completely wrong. Or, hey, I've heard that too. I got 2 validations now. I can pass it on to the third person to check it too.
Gosh.
My information is top tier.
How?
That was 25 seconds. That was good. That was 25 seconds of Elise.
You have a mic I could drop?
25 seconds of Elise being annoyed.
You have a freaking mic I could drop?
It's like punch it. All right, things got a little heated. I feel like we need a chai break. You guys were at each other's like throats.
Okay.
All right, no, it's all.
I think I won.
Peace treaty.
Yeah, peace
But
treaty.
honestly, like it's one of those things where they're both valid points. I feel like you guys really are like saying good things, and it's.
I think we were both wrong.
Yeah.
I think you're being too nice.
I kind of am because
our times like
they're pretty
I took like a
ridiculous.
5-minute break and I was like, oh wow. And then Ali replayed it for me. I was like, oh, that.
You guys both had like little monologue moments, and we're like, okay,
It's fine. We're friends again.
Yeah, it's well, homies.
Exactly.
All that to say, I feel like it's gonna be really interesting to see like how social media is gonna change in the next like year or so, and just like how we consume it and things like that. And it's also very important to be like conscious consumers of these things because there's so much information coming at you in different directions from different people. It's really important to make sure that you are able to kind of like decipher it and just kind of make sure that you kind of hear both sides of things and stuff. And it's very important to not just kind of go down just one rabbit hole and just kind of get stuck.
Mm.
So I feel like that's like the big like takeaway from all the social media stuff. But yeah, it's yeah. I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see how we all consume in the next like year or so.
There's just so much stuff around it. And I think we're going to keep talking about it.
Absolutely.
In capacity, because I think like just the landscape is going to change. We could have even talked about like all these upcoming things, these new things that we're using. So it's going to be a development thing. It's going to be like fun. And I think it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got to end it out. I was thinking about like, we talked about a little bit, but two questions. I want to go to both of you guys. A New Year's resolution for yourself, and then a New Year's resolution for us as Double E. I think there's a lot we can go with. It's a good goal to give ourselves. So yeah. Which
cool. Do you want to start, or you want me to start?
I can start.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh God. Okay. New Year's. I feel like obvious New Year's resolution is like get a job, but I feel like that's not creative enough. So I have a business, so I want to just like grow that. So like get more followers on that, and just like continue with that, and like just like push myself creatively and things like that. And then for this, just keep like trying to become more confident and like pushing new ideas and being more comfortable, because this is all like a challenge. So just putting myself out there more. Yeah,
that's really good. What are you?
Personally, I think I don't have I want to build. I think I just I lost my job after having worked since I graduated. Like I've worked for over 10 years straight. And I think for me, I'm like, things are just so much easier to do yourself. And I think if I ever truly will love my job, I'll be doing something for myself. So I'd love to build something that I'm a part of, and I've tried a couple of things, and I think I learned so much out of everything. But I think now I just have like an energy to just focus on doing something that I love. So, inshallah, I think it would just be about building something that I'm proud of, that I feel like could have its own legs, that I enjoy doing. Because I think there's so many things that I enjoy doing, and that's like been such a big blessing. It would just be about going all in with something and keep pushing it forward. For this channel, 100K subscribers, 100K.
Oh,
trying to have a viral
I like it.
6 figures.
I like
There
it.
you go.
You gotta think big.
Yeah. It happens overnight for people.
Maybe this is the thing we build.
There you go.
Manifesting.
Yeah, inshallah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, to that. I think it's just this channel's like, I feel like it's just a good way to kind of like, get something started. And it's like kind of like it's about being consistent and stuff like that. And I feel like we've gotten kind of into a flow of things. I feel like this year is going to be really great for us. And even if it's like it might be like a running start, it might be like a slow like jogging start or something, but at least we're doing it. I feel like it's something that we've always kind of been talking about, and all of us have that creative energy. So hopefully that kind of manifests itself. As far as for me personally, my biggest thing is I just really want to try to like stay true to myself. I feel like there's so many things as you get older where you're just like, man, I say yes to everything, or I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't do this, or I shouldn't have done that, or whatever. I really want to do things that I want to do, and kind of like build things that I am interested in building, as opposed to like just doing it because, well, oh, you're at this stage in your life, you should do X, Y, and Z. So that's where my focus is, just being very like in tune with myself and just kind of checking in every so often.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I really want to prioritize this year.
Well, that's really good and well said.
Thank you.
What about for the channel?
Were you not paying attention?
Oh, was that?
Anyways, so my thing.
Did you go too? Did you?
Men don't listen.
No, but like I said, I think that this year is going to be really good for us. I think it's really about staying consistent, making sure that we post regularly, and just really focus on building that audience. So inshallah, I think it's going to be a good year for all of us. Yeah.
Do we have time left?
Yeah.
How much time do we have?
4 more minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna do speed round. I just thought of this.
Okay,
this is a test. I'm gonna say one thing, and you guys give me a sentence about what you guys think of it.
Okay.
Zayn Malik concert.
What do you mean?
You don't have to go.
Like life-changing?
You get to say one sentence that you want to say about that topic.
Oh, it was literally life-changing. Would do it again. Wish I could relive it.
Amazing. You don't have to go because you didn't go.
I didn't go.
Grammys.
Regret. Just kidding for not going.
Grammys. You go.
Go first.
It felt
you
like
past you.
Okay, it just felt like it was a bunch of rich people who were very out of touch, and they were just like very like they didn't read the room. I feel like there's a big political thing happening right outside the doors of the Grammy Awards, and even the kind of jokes and stuff they're making, the kind of statements that they're making were very like, come on, how's this happening? Is this like the Hunger Games?
Award shows are a little bit dated, losing their edge a little bit.
I think so.
Great thoughts.
Yeah.
It's rich people talking about how great they are.
Yeah.
Indian woman in Pakistan. Black woman in Pakistan. Black woman in Pakistan. Her, that lady.
I don't even know what to say. Like,
bring her home. I mean, that poor lady's like, she's sick. Like, why are we giving her so much attention? But the one good thing that's coming out of it is like people are kind of noticing where we are, and they're kind of like, people are kind of siding with Pakistani people. They're like, hey, they're good people. All right, they're good people. They're not crazy. And just because one person says that they're like horrible people doesn't make it true.
Yeah, she's getting so taken care of.
Yeah.
I'm you learn a lot of things against your will on the internet.
that's a better sentence. I think that's a better sentence.
That's a better sentence.
Yeah.
Luka Doncic.
Who?
Men are annoying and need to just. Actually, that's mean. Sorry, I take that back.
I should probably pay more attention to sports.
That's a sentence with 2 hyphens. What about you?
I think I'm gonna have to look this up before I have my next like guy session hangout, because I feel like this is something that everybody's gonna be talking about for a very, very long time, and for someone who's not really interested, it's gonna be like I'm gonna have to know at least something about this.
Fair.
Your dude is wearing a different colored costume or something, so apparently it's like,
damn, it's like that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you. Happy for you. Sorry that happened. I don't know.
Let's do maybe 2 more.
Okay.
Red Note.
It's cool. It's fun. I made an account.
Do it.
Yeah.
Like you have nothing to lose. I mean, we're talking about how it's important to have diverse social media, and might have something to offer that we don't have on our American platforms.
Here's my data. Take it.
Honestly, they already have it. I got nothing to hide.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's just so. I love that it's positive. That's what I'll say about it.
Yeah.
It's very positive. Last one. If you had last one, has to be good. What is something that's going on? I feel like we talked enough about political stuff. I think we talked about TikTok.
Oh, I got a good one.
Yeah.
Blake Lively.
That's a really good one.
What's the case? What do you think the verdict's going to be? Okay, overall, I think the whole thing has gone on for way too long. It almost serves as like a distraction. I feel like they're doing it, so we'll treat this like a real news article instead of talking about real things that are going on in the world. It shouldn't have this much attention.
That's a hot take.
Just another rich white woman who's out of touch. I don't know. There's more to it, but still.
I guess I'll
if we have one sentence.
I'll take a different approach on this. I'm trying to think of one sentence. Bringing awareness to workplace settings. I think there's a lot of questions that are coming up here that I don't think we're having before. And it's fascinating because there's a power dynamic. The more powerful one is the woman in this situation, and then there's a guy also, like her husband's very involved. It's interesting, but I think it's going somewhere I think it's going somewhere beneficial.
It's going to probably set a really good precedent.
I hope so, yeah.
Anyways, thanks for
That's
watching.
our episode.
First one of the new year. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Yes, take care.
Bye.